Hey everybody, so today I'm going to show you how to do this underwater explosion using Phoenix FD and 3ds Max. As always, if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Jesse and I've been making a lot of tutorials which you can check out, and as always I would appreciate a thumbs up if you guys are enjoying the content. So let's watch this one more time and jump straight into Max. We're gonna start with a blank scene here so you can see how I did everything. We can go under particle systems and create a PF source, and then you can make it a sphere icon and just maybe move it in the middle, and go under the particle view, and we're going to emit particles for just one frame and 1,000 of them. And then for the speed we can do 150 with 50 for variation, and the direction would be random 3D. So already we're getting this explosion style effect happening. And then you can delete the shape and go under the delete operator and set it by particle age for 3 frames and 1 frame variation. So what you should end up with is a small explosion like this. Maybe we can make the lifespan 4. And then we can go under Phoenix FD, Fire Smoke Sim, AutoGrid, and just drag out a regular sim box. And under the grid settings we can give it 200 by 200 by 250. And then you can hit J to hide the selection brackets and just move this down so that the explosion is roughly in the middle. And then we need to go under helpers, Phoenix FD, PHX source, and add the particle flow particles as the source. Give it 50 for outgoing velocity, 1 for noise, temperature, let's make that 300. And then we need to enable this motion velocity, and motion velocity is basically what will give the smoke speed in the direction of the particles based on the speed of the particles. So if I were to leave this disabled, I would basically just be creating trails. But if I enable this, the smoke will be given speed given on the speed of the particles, just as you can see here. So basically this is what creates our actual explosion effect, and set it to a value of 10. So now we need to go under the actual Phoenix grid settings, and for my final resolution I did exactly this. So I did 10 million total cells and 1 centimeter cell size. And then under dynamics I did 0 for cooling, 0.5 for time scale, just to slow it down a little bit and give it more scale, because at 1 time scale it was all happening a little too fast. Then we need to turn off massive vorticity and set classic vorticity to 0. So this way we're basically reducing detail and telling the smoke to not break up into too many small tendrils. Basically we're just getting these mushrooms, which is exactly what I wanted, to basically make it look like these bubbles. And then for the conservation method you can do PCG symmetric, but you can leave it at direct as well. And for the quality, let's do 100. So basically the conservation quality will make the smoke last longer and give it more sort of detail before it starts dissipating. So basically I want the smoke to live for as long as possible, because air doesn't just disappear, air will just keep rising. So basically I could even raise this to 200 to make this little pieces of smoke here last even longer. And then for steps per frame, let's do 2, and you could do even 4 or more and just let it sim overnight, because the particles are moving really fast. So increasing steps per frame will just make it look a little better. So then we just need to go under output and output velocity if you would like to render this with motion blur. I didn't, just because I wanted to see all of the detail in the bubbles. And then under rendering we need to set the mode to mesh, and under preview you can say show mesh and uncheck everything else. And then you can just choose a folder that you would like to sim this into, and let's run a test sim and make sure that everything's working. So I've simulated a few frames and everything is working good. You can hit G to hide the grid. However, one thing I forgot about is the smoke buoyancy, so we need the bubbles to be rising up. So set the smoke buoyancy to 5. And at this point, this is the basic setup. So I'm just going to switch back to my original scene here to show you the lighting setup and the material. So for my lights, I'm doing basically just a 3 multiplier on top to make it look like the ocean surface is here. So there's some light coming in, and then just some fill light on the side. So basically I was going for this shadow area here, and then you have this bright light up here. And one more thing I wanted to show you guys is this ISO surface level. So let me just show you what it does. By dragging this, you're basically reducing the size of the mesh created around the particles. So you can make the smoke much more filled in or much reduced. So I basically would push this value as far as I can before the entire box fills up like this. So maybe a value of 0.06 gives you the most puffy looking result, which is what we want for a simulation of air bubbles. So that's something to play with as well. And then for the material, basically it's just this semi-transparent blue material. You can look at my diffuse numbers here. It's just like a light blue. 100% for reflection. Refraction is not completely transparent, so it's about 195 for refraction. And then the fog is this light blue color as well with 0.01 fog multiplier. After I brought it into After Effects, basically I just added some curves to give it more contrast and some glow on top here just to make it look like it's very bright and get that nice effect of the light penetrating the air from the top to the bottom here. So very simple effect, but you can use this technique for a variety of effects. I was actually initially going to make a Stargate tutorial that was going to look like this, but I just saw that it wasn't really that good and I couldn't get the motion of it to be correct. So maybe I'm going to play with this in the future, but I just wanted to show you that you can use this technique to create all sorts of fun effects. So definitely play around. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the future tutorials, and I'll talk to you later.